Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review for this morning's press conference reaction show and, of course, Newcastle United latest news. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. My name is Paul, and I'm joined, of course, by Billy Bob. If you do enjoy the show this morning, please do give it a like. And, of course, if you're new and like what you see, come and join this amazing community that we have right here on the Toon Review. Hit that subscribe button. It is free. And, of course, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. You can, of course, support the channel in two ways. First is by membership, of course, hitting that join button underneath us. We've got some great prizes coming up in the next week or so. And, of course, super chats are available by hitting that $ underneath the live comments. And that will guarantee your comments to be read out live on the show. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning, and good morning to all out there in Viewerland.
Now, very blustery up here in the northeast today, back end of a hurricane, I believe, but it is really windy. But the sun is shining, always makes a good help. Unfortunately, I am still positive for COVID. You know what's affecting me most of all with this, Billy, is leg pain. My knees and my legs. I just feel like I've got nothing there, and they're just weak. It's a very strange feeling to have. But I guess all these different strains of COVID that are going around. But I know the guys are out tonight for a TTR meetup, so they'll still all go and enjoy themselves. And me and Billy will be here with TTR Friday. So the show goes on, as they say, Billy. But I just want to point one thing out. There's a few comments in the chat early doors about the app. The Newcastle United app, and that it's not working, and there's a lot of people kicking off, and they can't watch the press conferences. I haven't had a problem with it. I signed in originally, and I got a new phone yesterday, and I signed in again, and it worked fine. And I think it's definitely teething problems, but there seems to be so many people want to jump on the negativity bandwagon very quickly. All I'll say is, guys, give it a chance. You know, it's a very new thing. Let people work it out. Let people get it updated, and we'll see how it is in a few months.
Well, I used it today. I've had no problem with it whatsoever. Doing the game when it was the under-21s game, straighten on that as well. It's odd. It's working for some people, and for some people it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. I just, you know, I mean, I'm on Android. I haven't had a problem. I don't know whether it's just iPhones that are kicking off. I don't know. But I know that iPhones had a problem with the season tickets in the wallet and stuff. But I've had no issues with Android. Fubar says I've had no issues with iPhone. And I know Alex uses Android, doesn't he? And he's had a problem with it. So it's all over the place. I think it just needs to be a bit, you know, just needs to be worked out a little bit better. And I'm sure that given a little bit of time, you know, it will get sorted out. You know, whenever you release an app, there's always going to be teething problems for somebody. You know, just give it time is what I'd say, and I'm sure it'll be fine in the future. Right now, we'll start with the press conference because Eddie Howe has been speaking to the media. Now, Billy, there's something annoyed you about the press conference this morning. You haven't told me backstage. You said, I'll tell you when we're live. So I'm intrigued as to what has got under your skin this morning. So take it away.
Well, it was someone that couldn't hold back their footballing support rather than use journalistic integrity.
Okay.
And it was our old friend Louise trying to force information about Sandro Tonali and his issue and his addiction out of Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
It was scandalous. And the way she spoke down to Eddie Howe was scandalous. The way she showed her disdain by the way she was speaking was scandalous. And it was just a case of Louise again, Sunderland kind of orientated and looking down at Newcastle United as if she was something special.
Yeah.
She's got a history for it. She keeps doing it. Why they keep letting her in these press conferences, Lord alone knows. But for me, it was absolutely outrageous the way she asked the question, and indeed the question she asked as well.
Yeah, look, this was a problem last season, wasn't it, with her? Asking very inappropriate questions. And I'm amazed that they've allowed her back in this year. I mean, I know, you know, she's a journalist. She's got to do her job. But the problem is she's so Macam orientated. You can tell. You can tell the way she talks. You can tell in the tone of her voice. You can tell the way she asks her questions. And And you can also tell the way Eddie sort of sits there and sort of looks at her when she's asking the questions. It's like, you know, who the hell are you talking to kind of thing. But Eddie can't say that, you know, in a press conference. He can't do that kind of thing. So, you know, he has to stay, you know, very, very calm and considerate to what he's answering. Because if he did turn around and say, well, you know, go mental, it would be all over the news in seconds. So, yeah. Supermag says, hi, Paul and Billy. I've had to add another account to my YouTube to be able to chat. I've followed you since you had 200 subs, mate. Best channel on YouTube by a mile. Well, welcome back, mate. I'm sorry you've had a problem with your old account. I don't know why that is, but welcome back onto the channel, and thank you. Nathan says, if you could go to these press conferences, would you? Do you see a day when there is NUFC YouTube channels given access? It's a very, very good question, Nathan, and one that's been asked many, many times before, because this is my personal opinion on it, okay? This isn't anybody else's. This is just mine. So I'll give you it straight, as you always get a straight answer on here. I do believe that the way YouTube is now and the way that fan channels have grown, and listen, not all fan channels. Some are just there to, you know, cause trouble, make money, or whatever it is, likes, clicks. I'm not all about that. We are not all about that on this channel. Yes, it's nice to grow your channel, nice to get subscribers and views and things like that. Of course it is, especially when you're doing it every day. However, you know, for me, I think it would be nice for anybody to be recognised and asked to go in there. But it only seems to be, and I'll be bluntly honest here, it only seems to be the people that are very sort of non-negative about the football club at times, who don't really always speak the truth, that always seem to get the invites from the football club. We've never had any interaction with Newcastle United, despite us having over 30,000 subscribers. I still don't know why that is. Probably because we're very critical when we have to be critical, and we're very, very honest, and wear our heart on our sleeves. But isn't that all about being sort of being in the media? Because I think YouTube is a media outlet now. There's no doubt about that. You know, we talk about the club, we bring you news on the club, we interact with you guys regarding the club, and quite frankly, I think it is part of the media now. But they have to be careful that they can't just invite any Tom, Dick, or Harry. I would imagine that the club would do its research on who the major players are, YouTube wise. Look, we are very proud of the fact that when we go live, we are the most live watched Newcastle United channel. There is no other channel on YouTube that gets the same live audience as what we do.
Anywhere near.
Now, that's not to say that there isn't other YouTube channels get higher views on their videos. That's fine, you know. But for me, this isn't a competition, right? It never has been for us. And I'm going to call him out on this. Eddie from Tyneside Life last week decided to make a video and say at the start of his video that he'd got over 40,000 subscribers because he'd worked his ass off, and he'd only done this many videos, which was, and to quote him, he actually said that he'd done a lot less videos than his competitors. Now, we're not competitors at all. In fact, we're not even like Eddie. We stick to football. He does other things, and so do other channels. But, you know, it really annoys me when I find people talking about competitors, because that's not what it's all about. It's about Newcastle United. And if certain people like watching certain channels, that's fine by us. You know, there's people that watch this channel, that watch Loaded, Magpie Channel, Newcastle United Fans TV, you know, Evermore. You know, we're close to a few channels. You know, Adam P. We know a lot of people. We're not out to cause trouble with anybody. We get on well with the lads at Newcastle Fans TV. Matty at the Magpie Channel's a great lad. You know, the Loaded guys are great guys. So, you know, we're not in competition. But what I want to see is, it would be nice that even if a couple of channels every week were, you know, different channels were asked to come in on a rotational basis. And that would be great for us, because we could then experience it and feed it back to you guys as well, which is what it would be all about, is actually feeding back to you guys. I'm not how you feel on it, Billy, but for me, it would be nice to be involved like that, but for some reason, this channel never gets nothing from the club.
I think it's because we're honest. I think we don't sugarcoat anything. If we see something that we think's a little bit out of kilter, we'll say so. We don't lie. We don't make up rumours. We don't do anything like that. Some channels do. We just kind of true to ourselves and thus true to our watchers and viewers and subscribers and members. It's the only way to be, I think. There's no point being someone you're not.
The thing is, though, Billy, right, that gets me. I think YouTube is now bigger than mainstream TV. And we've said this many, many times before that, it is bigger than mainstream TV. I hardly watch mainstream TV now. I'm always watching YouTube, whether it be live YouTube shows or videos. I find it more interesting because I can find all my interests on YouTube, whether it be football or aquariums or, the stuff that I'm interested in. I can go and watch it any time. I don't have to wait for something to come on the TV. So I think in time, YouTube is going to be recognized. That's why all the big media reporters now, Keith Downey, etc., they've all set their own YouTube channels up as well because they find that is a better way to come across to a lot of people.
Well, the written press is virtually gone. I mean, who buys a newspaper these days? Nobody. I don't know anyone that buys a newspaper. So this is the main media in the world, not just the country, in the world. People flock to YouTube because it's easy, it's free, and you can see whatever you want, whenever you want. I've been watching old historical Olympic Games movies past few days, until stupid o'clock in the morning. Yeah, because it's just what I like doing sometimes, So you can choose what you want when you want, and that's what we do.
And I'm very proud of the fact, Billy, that we are honest. We're very critical at times, and I feel like when we're critical, we have a right to be. We're not going to sit here and say everything's rosy in the garden when it's not. But we're also very, very praising of when things do go right as well. So you get both of it on here, and we've been accused of being negative constantly. It's water off a duck's back, that to me. If you don't like honesty, don't watch this channel, is what I always say. But you know what? We'll see what happens. Charles, thank you for your super chat. I've been here since 4 subscribers. Love this channel. It's the best. Keep up the good work. Yeah, Charles, you've been with me since the start, mate, and that never goes. It's never far away from me how long you've been with me. Let's get some of the comments on what we've said there. P. Lockey says some of the fan channels have more subscribers than the so-called main press. Anthony makes a good point, saying easily vet YouTubers to help ensure it's not over the top. Look, invite a couple in to sit in on the press conferences before they're allowed to ask any questions, so they know how it all works and things like that. There's lots of different ways they can go about it. Did you get the feeling Howe seemed peed off, says Cludes? Yes, but we'll come on to that. Absolutely. Agree with you about that line of questioning. She was extremely passive-aggressive. I was swearing at the screen, get her banned. Newspaper journalism is the last place I go for sport information. Can't trust anything they print. Paul Billy at the Toon Review, have you let us know the plan for deadline day, please? Thanks as always, gents. We're just finishing off what we're going to be doing, time-wise. We'll probably let you know over the weekend, to be honest. We're just finishing off working it all out. We'll probably be live from, I think it's 11 a.m. We're going live, Billy, right through, won't we? Yeah. So it'll be at least 12-hour stream. But we'll let you know. We'll let you know further on that when we get it all sorted. They invite the non-confrontational people, but we need honesty about our club. Surely fan channels being present at press conferences would be better than some of the dross they have attending at the moment and stupid questions they ask. And the thing is, what they couldn't do, Billy, is hide and turn around and say, well, you can't ask this, you can't ask that, because then we'd find out exactly what goes on in these press conferences.
100%. One of the things that really irritated me today was some of the journalists asking the same questions that already been answered.
The Trippier question got asked, I counted at least 6 times. At least 6 times.
And that's when Eddie Howe was getting pissed off.
Yeah. And rightly so.
Why wouldn't you be? It was ridiculous. If you go there to ask a question, someone asks another question, the same question, surely you have a second one in reserve. They don't seem to, do they? They just seem to be robotic. Oh, it's my question. I'm going to ask the same question as what the other 5 people have. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's just a waste of people's time. Waste of my time watching it. Waste of Eddie Howe's time. He could be out on the training pitch with his team. Absolutely ridiculous. You think they'd have the brains to kind of have a different alternative question when the same ones keep getting asked again. And he was getting pissed off with it. You can see it. You can see it. You know, he was openly kind of cheesed off with the same question being asked about Kieran Trippier over and over and over again.
Yeah, it did my head in, actually.
And the captaincy with Bruno, you know, just over and over again.
Just let it go. You know what I mean? He's giving an answer, let it go. Peter says, if you were competitors, you wouldn't have had Alan P and Matty on the show. Yeah, we've had Loaded on, we've had Rubenstein on, we've had Lee from Newcastle Fans TV in the past. Why? Exactly. You know, we're all doing different stuff. We don't exactly do identical stuff. It's all different. And, you know, some people like watching one, some people like watching the other. And that's what it's all about. Eddie does loads of things non-football related. He'll have different audiences, so strange comparison. I was annoyed at the comparison, to be honest. And I didn't like saying competitors. I don't like it. We're not in, you know, there's just no competitors out there. It's mental. Keep up the good work. I can easily see you passing 100k subs in the near future as the club and channel grow. Thank you, mate. No, I'm not doing a John Sinclair impression. John's a friend of mine. And listen, I'm always very honest with John. And Billy, you'll know this over the past. I've helped John a lot. And I'm very, very honest with him. We've all been honest with him in the past when we've spoken to him about, you know, how to present things like that. So, you know, we also help other people behind the scenes, which people never see. You know, people don't know what goes on behind the scenes and the communication that we have with other people. Do any other clubs invite YouTubers to press conferences? I don't know. I can't answer that. Are you still planning on doing the TTR gaming channel, Paul? Yes, we will get that kicked off because I know Billy's itching to get started with some. It's not called FIFA anymore, is it? It's called
EA Sports. Yeah,
FC 25's out shortly.
FC 25. Yeah, David's release. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So yes, we will. That is a promise. I don't know when, but it is a promise.
Another channel for football, all football, so we can kind of
we're trying
to watch like every night of the week.
Yeah, that's what our plans are. To second and third channels, football related channel for like watch alongs and general football banter and chat like the Premier League and stuff. So yeah, we've got some good stuff coming up. Morgan says, to be fair, I never watched YouTube outside of academia and help with work. That wasn't until I stumbled across you guys, however long ago. Absolutely nothing worth watching on mainstream TV. Exactly, there isn't. You guys should go on a journalism course and get them in press releases. I
always wanted to be a journalist when I was a kid.
Actually. So did I. I always looked at journalism, but a sports journalism was what I wanted to do.
Yeah, me too. I was always good at writing things about sport. I've got a good qualification in English language, and
I've got.
For some reason, I never got down there.
Yeah.
End up in a factory.
Well,
could be more further removed, could it?
True. Claire says they won't have YouTube in the press conference as they won't want you asking questions we want answers for.
Good point.
Yeah. Ollie's asking, what else do you watch on the tube, Billy? With a laughing face. Probably not what you're thinking, Ollie.
Lots of kind of amateur golf. I like watching Tubes and Ange. Tubes off the do Soccer AM.
Yeah.
He's got a golf channel now, and has some great guests on there. He's had Newcastle United players on there, and it's been quite interesting.
Yeah. I see Tim Lovejoy and Helen Chamberlain are getting back to doing a football podcast, which should be really good.
Yeah, good.
I've seen that yesterday. It's looking forward to that because that was the original Soccer AM, which they were brilliant at. It was never the same when they left. But never mind. Ryan says, Billy giving me less and less urge to start watching press conferences. I stopped last season and I don't plan to. Yeah, well, you don't have to. We'll come and tell you what exactly went on in the press conferences. Alexander says, you should see my job. Yes, Alex, we should. Teasing us again. Certain people have medicals booked and immediately get a call to change the name and use a phonetic name and move them to a private room or signature suite.
Very interesting, that.
Yes, it is. Alexander, I am waiting for that email telling me all about what you do. Ian Fleming, thank you for a super chat, buddy. A lot of clubs in Scotland have YouTubers in their press conferences. There is one really good YouTuber I watch who covers a lot of Scotland, and that's Sam from Footy Adventures. And that I'm going to get a contact with him because I want him to come on the show. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and what he does is he promotes a lot of the lower league teams. I don't know whether you've ever watched him, Billy, but he does promote a lot of non-league stuff in Scotland as well as go to obviously the bigger games and things like that. I absolutely love watching him, and he puts stuff together really, really well. So we'll try and get him on one day. Fibs made a very interesting comment about a certain channel, which I'm not going to read that out, but yeah. TTR loaded well clear of the West, says Peter. Thank you. But again, it's not about being ahead of the rest. It's just about us continuing to bring the stuff that you want to watch. That's what's more important to me and the guys that all of us here at the Toon Review. We just want to keep going with the banter with you because that's what it is. It's a family on this channel, and that's what we want to. We really want to create that family atmosphere on here, and it's just it is like a family because we fall out and stuff like that and argue on the show, and well, we don't fall out, we just argue on the show like petty kids, but that's what it's all about for me. Right, let's have a look at the press conference, shall we? The first thing that Eddie said was on the injuries, Billy. There's not been much change. Matt Targett has had a bit more training under his belt this week, a good 45 minutes for him in the under-21s. We are pretty much as we were. I mean, obviously, we didn't expect them to see any injuries or anything like that. It was obvious that there was only really the ones that are sort of Miley, etc., and Callum Wilson that are not involved. And then, of course, you've got Schär suspension. So I'm still intrigued as to who he puts centre-back on Sunday. I do think it'll be Emil Kraft. But again, time will tell on that one. But, there was nothing to talk about with injuries.
No, which is good for a change, isn't it? Because sometimes certainly last season it was a roll call of injuries, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You spent 5 minutes on the players that weren't available, and that's not the case now. It's as we were, with the long-term ones, Botman and Lascelles, and then the others that are close but not quite there, the Wilsons of this world. I don't think Matt Targett's quite ready to start yet, and I don't think if he was, he would be in the side anyway. So, yeah, it's a good place for him to be. It would be interesting to see. I don't know what this new Bournemouth centre forward's like. If is he a big, tall, physical centre forward, or is he a quick and nippy one? I don't know. I've never seen him. It'll be interesting who he selects to play centre half against him. To be honest,
yeah, I think he'll have done his homework as Eddie always does. Julie, it's not a poltergeist in Billy's house. It's just the fact that the sun is very bright, and you just can't get the lighting right when the sun's beaming through like that. So don't worry. I've got a big blackout blind in my studio, so it's just the sun. There it is again. You can't help it. It's just the sun. I was interested. He mentioned Matt Targett there getting minutes, but he didn't mention Kieran Trippier getting minutes. But we'll come on to Kieran because he went on to talk about the captaincy. And this is what he was asked about numerous times, as well as with Kieran. He says, Jamal Lascelles has been promoted to club captain, so he's going to oversee the other captains. He's an incredible leader behind the scenes, and Kieran and Dan in the leadership group continue their roles. Bruno has stepped up to be team captain, but we need 11 leaders on the pitch, regardless of who wears the armband. Now, that was an obvious answer for me, Billy. Darren Cox, thank you for your super chat. Watching the Toon Review live in Mallorca. Positive for 24-25. Well, aren't you a lucky bastard you had been in Mallorca? Look, he gives that answer, and I'm sure that's a well-prepared answer regarding the captaincy, Billy, because there's all sorts going around about Kieran Trippier being very unhappy that he's now not the team captain but he can't be because he's not guaranteed a start, whereas Bruno is completely different and is guaranteed a start.
Yeah, that's the main reason, I think. And I think, you can read between the lines about whether Kieran Trippier will be here by the end of the transfer window. I personally don't think he will be. But Eddie Howe was diplomatic in his response to that, wasn't he? Saying he wants to keep him, etc., etc. Of course he wants to keep him. Yeah, he's a fantastic player and leader. I think he's over the top now. I think he's on the down way. to get money for him now would be fantastic for us. But Eddie's not going to say that, is he?
I mean, exactly. And people are saying in the chat, why is Jamal Lascelles, why is he club captain? He's been captain for a long time, and I understand that role. We don't know what work Jamal Lascelles does behind the scenes when he's been injured. Eddie's already stated that he does a lot of work for the club off the field. So, let's just hope that things get better for Jamal Lascelles injury-wise. He's obviously doing a lot behind the scenes. I don't get all this Matt Targett talk because really he hasn't been involved for so long. I don't get what the importance is regarding Matt Targett. I'm sorry, that may seem a little bit harsh. However, to say I don't care is a bit harsh, but I'm really not bothered. I think we've got a much better left back there and a standing left back in Lloyd Kelly. I don't see, because really Matt Targett was poor before he got injured, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic when he was on loan for us, but the minute we signed him, his form dipped a little bit, and then injuries have kind of plagued him, haven't they? He's hardly ever kind of played, really. He's, whenever he's come back, he's got injured straight away. So, yeah, if we can get him out the door and get money for him, fantastic. But that wage that he's on might stop that from happening. 100K a week. How many clubs are going to play that?
That's the problem. That is exactly the problem for me, is the fact that he's on massive wages. He's not going to feel pressured to move anywhere.
No.
And, if he's been injured for so long, he's picking up 100 grand a week when he's hardly kicked the ball. It's one of those where you say, well, if you're the player, why do you seek to go elsewhere when you're getting an absolute fortune? And I think whoever did the wage deal with Targett needs shooting, to be honest, because I don't think he's anywhere near worth 100 grand a week, if that's what he is on, of course. Now, we moved on to the Southampton win, and he said, we defended our goal really well. A great return to the style of how to defend. It is about doing that consistently. That was only one game, but I was very pleased. It was an important game for us and sets the marker. What I would have liked somebody to ask him, Billy, is the first 20 minutes. What was, it's all right saying, oh, yeah, we defended well, we did this. But I think everybody who's watching, everybody who was in that ground, saw the first 20 minutes and saw how poor and all over the place we were, but nobody asked him about it. Nobody said, were you happy with the first 20 minutes, with the start you made, Eddie? Or, would you have got confident that things would have clicked further on in the game? That's what I would have asked him.
Yeah.
Us fans want to know what his thoughts were on that first 20 minutes, because we were all over the place.
A glaring omission that a championship side could, of last season, newly promoted side can come to St James's Park and dominate play in the first 20 minutes of a game. Not just a case of hustling us, but out footballing us, escaping the press, dominating possession, even before the sending off. Someone needed to kind of say that to him and ask him, surely you couldn't have been happy with the first 20 minutes. Fine. Once the adversity hit us, we did kind of roll our sleeves up, as Steve Bruce once said, and dusted ourselves down and fought for lions to get the win, which is great. But while we were on equal terms, we were poor, I thought, and I think someone should have asked him that.
Was it just the fact that it was the first real serious game of the season and it was just a little bit of nerves or a little bit of rustiness? Just ask him. I don't understand why people don't ask him those sort of questions. And then he could have turned around and said, yeah, it wasn't great the first 20 minutes. However, the lads were just, getting a feel for the game, and it wasn't the quick start that we wanted. However, we galvanized and we grouped together and we did what we had to do to get the 3 points. That would have been fine. At least we get, at least we get to know what Eddie's thoughts are. Isn't that what the press conference is? Getting the manager's thoughts on things. Now, one thing that was confirmed in the press conference, Billy, regarding obviously going down to 10 men, was that they did appeal. They did appeal the sending off, but it was rejected. And I still find that bizarre, because they could have looked at various different angles with that sending off. Yes, we all know Fabian Schär was silly. There is no question about that. The question that we've asked is, why wasn't Brereton Diaz given the same punishment? Because if you look from certain angles, he puts his head in as well. So surely that is a double red card.
It was very concerning, actually, that answer, because he said that the club had been made aware that the appeal was unsuccessful, but they didn't give a reason why.
Yeah, they just said rejected.
Ridiculous to me. it takes 2 minutes to kind of explain why the appeal had been rejected. The FA didn't, or the Premier League didn't see it, deem it kind of worthy of doing that. I thought that was disgraceful.
I mean, Niall makes a good point there, Sid. I think we all knew it wouldn't be overturned. And, I said that.
It was a frivolous appeal. And we wouldn't have made it last season because last season we'd have had a game added on, wouldn't we?
Kronk says, are the Toon Review buying Billy more equipment to help the lighty?
It's the sun.
I can't help the sun. The sun has been since the creation of Earth. I can't, no matter what powers that I have, help the sunshine.
You see, when I put more light on, I'll get more. See, it's there again, but there you go. I've got plenty of light in here.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's when you go to one angle, Billy. If you move away.
It's the sun poking itself through the blinds, basically. I've got the blind shut.
Guys, it's the sun. Just listen, it doesn't matter. Let's have a look at what else Eddie went on to say now about Bournemouth, which, of course, we now know as the Eddie Howe derby. We had 2 really tough games against them last season. They are an athletic side who will hurt you on transitions if you are not on it. We are not fooled by how difficult this game will be. We need to be better on the road than we were last season. We need to go into this game with the right frame of mind. When you turn up for a game, you're there to win. We have to try and start well. We have to try and get momentum in our season. Now, we mentioned the start there, Billy. So obviously, it's clear that he knows.
And it's the way he sets the team up. You'll be able to tell Sunday how he sets it. If he set the team up to kind of sit back and let them soak up pressure and hit on the counter, is that tantamount to us pressing? No, it usually isn't. The pressing is what we need. And force them into mistakes, hype the pitch. Yeah. We didn't do that last season away from home. We did it sometimes the season before, quite a lot actually. But it's a lot of it's down to the manager's attitude and how he sets the team up. I think he's got to set them up to press and play as it was a home game. Simple and straightforward as that for me.
Yeah, I think that's what he needs to do, especially away from home. And we've said that. Why do we play differently away from home? Why can we not utilize what we do at home? Why does it have to be different away? There's no real reason for that, but at least he mentioned the start, and I think that's important, Billy, because he knows that the start is incredibly important. And then he was asked about Lloyd Kelly, and he said Lloyd is in good condition. He didn't have a lot of match action. He trained for roughly 3 weeks and trained really well. He has made a really positive impact with the group. I've been really impressed by his performances, especially when he came on in a difficult situation for us. He would say he is ready and he is pushing for a start. Now, what I will say, Billy, he says he's ready, but Eddie doesn't.
That's true. That is quite correct. And I think you can read a lot into that. Can he play Sunday? Yes, I'd like to see him playing, but just don't see it. I don't think he'll change the back four for what finished against Southampton on Sunday.
Yeah. Guys, stop being fixated on Billy's screen, for God's sake. It's only the sunlight, man. You can still listen and see.
But more light, and it gets worse. There you go. It's gone. The sun's gone beyond the cloud now for a second.
But it's unbelievable how
less light, more light, less light, more light. There you go.
It doesn't matter, honestly. It's madness. So I'm really pleased with that. That he's, he's not going to wait long for Lloyd Kelly. I don't think it's not going to be a Lewis Hall situation or anything like that. I think we'll see him sooner or later. But having said that, I do believe that that's a giveaway for who's playing centre-back on Sunday. No doubt about it. Now, finally, Billy, the Kieran Trippier situation, which he was asked about, as I say, at least 6 times. It got a bit ridiculous. He has stated that he wants Kieran to stay, but there was a but. And I think his comments about Kieran Trippier, Billy, were probably what we expected him to say.
Yeah, I mean, he's diplomatic, isn't he? He obviously doesn't want to lose Kieran Trippier because he's a fantastic leader in the squad. But unfortunately, Kieran Trippier's was a world-class fullback and wants first-team football. He's not going to get that at Newcastle United. So, you can read between the lines that he'll be on his way somewhere. I don't see the point of just loading him out because that makes no sense to me. The year, the next year on his football life makes him less valuable next year. So we need to sell him, get him out the door, get some money for him, and maybe that'll help. Good grief, maybe that'll help the PSR.
Billy, what I'd do, Billy, is just turn your green screen off and just sit in front of the green screen.
That's a good idea.
That might knock the sun off. So just go to just the green background, and that might just stop all of that.
No, that's not it, is it?
No, that's not it. No. There you go. That should stop the sunshine coming through. Yeah, it will actually, because there's no green screen on. So there, everybody that was triggered by that, there you go. Now, there's an interesting thing come on the media, Billy, from saying there's an interesting twist. This is from well, according to Luke Edwards, that Kieran Trippier could stay at Newcastle United despite the Everton talks. And now he has stated that the England right back has reportedly told the Magpies that he wants to leave the club after being informed by Eddie Howe that he won't be first choice pick this season, and the fact that the captain's armband's been taken off him and given to Bruno. Reports suggest that he wants to leave before the deadline, and talks have been held with the Toffees about a potential loan, but there's no guarantees he will leave St James's Park. And then it goes on to say that he could end up staying. It's all over the place at the minute. I mean, the news just keeps breaking, Billy, all the time about Newcastle United. And apparently we've been offered 3 players from Chelsea. Wait till you hear this. The 3 players that we've been offered are totaling £455,000 a week in wages. Well, we've been offered the chance to sign Raheem Sterling, Madueke, and of course Axel Disasi. We're not going to be paying £500,000 a week for those 3 players, Billy. There's just no chance in a million years.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. They've been overpaid by Chelsea.
Well, exactly.
That for me.
It's look, Chelsea, let them get on with it. Let them worry about the wages that they're paying, etc. Because it's not our problem, and you know that's their choice. They give the ridiculous wages. It's similar to what we had in the past when we've been given, 5-6 year contracts on ridiculous wages. Crazy. Bill Bohr says, watch the press conference. The only problem I had was when reporters were talking, couldn't really hear the questions. Eddie looked a bit peed off. That was an issue, Billy. Newcastle United stated that this all new media room would give us a perfect sort of hearing of what the questions were being put to it. Now, I guess I heard them, but it was very difficult. You had to really listen carefully to hear the questions. But again, that's just something that will be put right as time goes on.
I just think that the acoustics in that room, they're supposed to be improved. They're supposed to be a new modern room. And it seems like there's only one mic, and if you're far away from it, you can't hear the question. It's ridiculous.
I mean, surely... I mean, I don't know whether they have, but one of those mics that goes over the head and goes around the room above everybody, that would seem to be a better thing for me. But hey, I'm just sitting here. Current value of all Chelsea's contracts is about 1.2 billion. It's just mental. I would hate to be in that situation, Billy, because I tell you what, they could hit a wall very quickly at Chelsea. They could absolutely hit a wall. But, they're never going to change for a while, are they, when Todd Bowley's there? That's a certainty.
Oh, I don't think Europa League or Europa, whatever they're in, the conference, isn't they're in? I don't think that kind of makes things any better for them. If anything, it's worse.
Exactly, yeah. But there you go, guys. That is the press conference reaction and latest news show. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We do appreciate it. Well over 1,100 into this morning across both platforms on X and, of course, YouTube. Give it a like before you leave, please, if you would, if you did enjoy it. And, of course, if you're new, please do subscribe. Free to do so. Hit that bell, though, so you never miss an upload or a live show. Me and Billy Bob are back at 7 o'clock with TTR Friday. So we'll have a little bit of banter tonight. And, of course, you guys can get on the show and tell us how you're feeling ahead of the Bournemouth game, what you think of the transfer window. We'll get your thoughts on everything as well. So thank you for your super chats, memberships. Mods, thank you. Billy, thank you. But thank you to you guys. for tuning in and having a conversation again this morning, because that's what it's all about. And me and Billy will see you back here again at 7 o'clock. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Friday, folks. See you soon.
How are lads and lasses?
Come back and check on some green.